Hi YouTube community. So this is probably going to start a flame war. So sorry, but I'm just really hoping that someone can. Okay, yeah, it's going to start a flame war. So I might as well just say it. Ayn Rand is the topic. I'm sorry, but I'm really, I don't know. I haven't quite given up hope that there are people who have like real legitimate critiques of Ayn Rand, because I should let you know where I stand. I think a lot of I think that Rand is a lot of times very undervalued. I think she deserves a lot more credit than people give her. That being said, I am not like a Randist, like, and Rand herself said she didn't want people like being Randists. So, but that's not why. Anyways, I'm not like devout. I totally disagree with her a lot of times, and I'm totally willing to disagree with her on a lot of things. But I haven't really heard a lot of actually good criticism against what she's actually saying. I typed in like valid critiques of Rand, and you never find anything. All you find is, like, I found this: Hitchens destroys the cult of Ayn Rand, and he goes on, and it's just a bunch of just a bunch of BS. He's just sitting here, it's like, well, he makes some sort of, well, basically he said, what was it he said? Oh, yeah. He's basically like, well, I don't think, like, she's promoting selfishness, and I don't think that people really need to support selfishness, like, if you look at it, everybody's pretty selfish already. You totally missed the point, Mr. Hitchens. You missed it. That you're talking about something totally different, because the thing about it is, and I think this is what causes a big problem for her, is she sort of redefines selfishness. So it doesn't really fit. Like, if you look it up in, say, Webster's dictionary, because she was an immigrant, so she didn't really, English isn't her first language. But I still think that there's some important things to discuss in what she defines as selfishness, which is different than what most people say selfishness is. Because I'm a pretty big proponent of that. I like Skinner, I like behavioralists, and I like selfishness as far as, like, Rand would define it and stuff. So what I'm really hoping for, like I said, is some really good critiques, and I'm going to just give some examples of a lot of things that I've seen on the internet that I'm trying to avoid. First of all, I don't want to hear about your religion. If you have a really good video and you're like, Justin, you should come be a Baptist, that's going to be really good for you. Like, that's great. Maybe make a different video and submit it to me, like, not having anything to do with this. That's fine. But that doesn't really pertain to what I'm talking about right here. Because regardless of whether your church is the best thing ever or not, it doesn't really point out why Rand's ideas are flawed. It just sort of points out why your ideas are perhaps better, if it does that. So no offense to anybody. Another thing. So these are the critiques that I most typically find when I look this kind of thing up. Is, like, first of all, and this is kind of a good critique. Well, Rand said that she came up with all these new theories and she's really amazing and she came up with all this new stuff, but really, she just copied all these, this and this and this and this and this and this guy. Like, if you look, everything links back to somebody. Yeah, that's great. So how does that make her wrong? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, maybe she was a little bit, arrogant, and, maybe to a fault. I don't see how that goes so far as to say everything she ever wrote was wrong. Even if she didn't come up with it herself, even if she was highly influenced by some people, are you really going to go so far as to say that their arguments are wrong? So if that's your point, if you want to fight those arguments, that's fine. But I don't want to hear about how, well, she didn't come up with it. It's not original. That doesn't really apply to whether she's right or not. You know what I mean? Next that I get a lot is, well, she came from Russia, and if you look at it like a Freudian example of, you know, it's a textbook Freudian response to her upbringing in Russia. Okay, great. Still, and that makes her arguments wrong. How? You know, like, you could say Aristotle was just a product of you know, Greek food. And so, I mean, how can anybody who eats Greek food, which is delicious, be right about anything? You know, it's like, that's silly. Yeah, and then the other one that's most common is sort of what Hitchens destroys the cult of Ayn Rand thing does, and just doesn't actually listen to what Rand is saying, and just sort of like, oh, I read about this one time. She's talking about selfishness, right? Okay, yeah, selfishness is bad, right? Well, you're not talking about the same thing. You're talking about two different definitions of selfishness. So, you know, I'm really hoping to get some honest, good feedback about, you know, why, particularly her view of selfishness as a moral thing is wrong. Yeah, and I know that there's just people, well, selfishness is wrong. That's what I was taught in church. Yeah, but you were taught about a different selfishness. Like, it's you know, anybody who, if I say the word semantics, you know, some people will understand exactly what I'm talking about. But you're talking about two different things. It's you know, if you don't understand that, then I'm sorry. So, yeah, I still think there's people out there who have good things to say. I hope this doesn't start too big of a flame war. I'm going to be here with a little fire extinguisher, you know, trying to keep things down as much as I can. But yeah, and I definitely think that there's I want to say one more time, I definitely think that there's things wrong with what she's saying, and she might go a little too far sometimes. But I think that a lot of stuff she says is fairly important, whether she was the first to say it or not. If you're gonna be like, well, she wasn't the first to say it, that was discussed here, that's great. I'd love a list of all the people she's talking about. You know what I mean? Like, if she's not the one who originated it, well, I think she makes a pretty good, you know, sort of encyclopedia, if nothing else. So, yeah. Cross your fingers. Hope that we can have some positive conversation about this. You know, not hope, you know, please nobody try and convert me. Please nobody start saying the word like cult, you know, directed at me or, you know, other people, or no accusations and stupid name calling. Like, seriously, get out of preschool. So thanks. Hopefully this goes out well.